Well, speaking of the holiday, the unofficial start of summer is just days away, which means a lot of us will be out enjoying the sun. But for many of us parents, the sunscreen aisle is overwhelming. In fact, the Environmental Working Group says 67% of sunscreen products offer poor protection or have worrisome ingredients. So we have Katie Kimball in studio this morning to help us navigate some options. And you have done hundreds of hours of research, interviewed many experts, and really kind of put your kids to the test with more than 100 sunscreens, right?
Yes, my kids have endured about 10 years of A/B testing. We put 2 on every
Absolutely.
kid every time.
So real quick, first let's start of why this was so important for you and your family.
Sure. Well, when I learned about the risks of conventional sunscreen, which endocrine disruption, that's messing with our hormones, releasing free radicals, cancer causing, I realized that I had to make a switch, and I wanted to find the best ones out there.
Absolutely. And before we get into more of that, I want to talk about some new legislation happening in Hawaii. I think that's really important because it sheds light on kind of the issues surrounding the chemicals found in our conventional sunscreen, if you will.
Yes, so in Hawaii, there's a bill that has passed through the legislature, and if it gets signed into law by the governor, it'll go into effect in 2021. The impetus behind this is to save the coral reefs. There was a study done in 2015 by Craig Downs that reflected studies in 2007 and 2008, all showing that oxybenzone and octinoxate, both very common ingredients in chemical sunscreen, are damaging to coral reefs and marine life. And in fact, they tested the coral reefs in Hawaii and found 3,000 times the toxic limit.
And you think about, we're putting that on our skin, which is our biggest organ on our body, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. And so then it washes off into the environment, kind of concentrates around the reefs based on the way the water's flowing. And they say the reefs could literally die off in 10 to 15 years if we don't take measures now.
Yeah, it's very eye-opening. So we want to talk about some alternatives, of course, back here in West Michigan, right? Because when you kind of correlate all of that, again, to what we're putting on our bodies. So the big thing that you want to look for is that zinc oxide, right?
Yes, zinc oxide is a very safe, it's a natural mineral, and it's not going to affect marine life. I don't think there have been studies done in the Great Lakes, but I think we've got to be really cognizant of that here in Michigan, that it's washing off our bodies and potentially harming our marine life. A lot of people, I don't like the way that the opponents of this bill are talking right now. They're kind of saying, oh my goodness, everyone is going to stop wearing sunscreen and we're all going to get skin cancer. And it's like, you know what? If 70% have these bad ingredients that might be banned, there's still 30% out there that are like the ones that my family has tested that are based with zinc oxide. And they're not, they're not that hard to rub in. They are maybe a little harder, but I think the earth is worth it. Yeah. And there's a lot of tinted versions now, and these sticks, oh my goodness. As far as like being quick on a child, a stick is super quick to put on, cheeks, nose, and forehead.
And talk a little bit about the science behind how it works compared to the chemical sunscreen and the way that the zinc oxide works in kind of, with the sun.
Sure. So both, of course, are trying to protect us from both UVA and UVB rays. The conventional sunscreens with what we're calling chemical ingredients, obviously all the world is made of chemicals, but they're causing a chemical reaction on and under your skin, and that chemical reaction is a little bit unstable. It releases free radicals. So those are cancer causing, and that's one of the reasons that I stay away from those. Zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are both minerals. They're very stable, and so when they absorb those UVA and UVB rays, they just give off heat, which is, of course, not a big problem. And they also will not degrade in the sun, which is huge. The other sunscreens, the reason you have to reapply after 2 hours is that they're actually degrading in the sun and becoming ineffective, whereas zinc oxide, as long as it's on your skin, it's working to protect you.
What would your biggest message be, I guess, to parents listening who maybe are even a little overwhelmed hearing this, right? To kind of, where should they begin? Because you have to find what's right for your family.
Yes. Yeah, it can be really crazy when you're trying to take care of the earth and take care of your bodies, but this is one that's easy. You don't have to have a new habit, you just have to buy a new brand. Reading the ingredients isn't hard. If you see zinc oxide by itself on a line, you're pretty much good to go. Also, of course, kitchenstewardship.com/sunscreen. We've tested 100, so we'll kind of lead you in the right direction.
And you can find the top 10 picks right there. That website is right there on your screen. And I know some people are also asking on our Facebook Live, where can they find these? I know, Amazon, online, but Badger, I think you can find at Target, right? Or
yeah, I think maybe or CVS or Walgreens. Badger is definitely able to be found locally. There are others that are pretty decent that are able to be found locally. Most of these you'd have to order online, but really, who doesn't do that nowadays anyway, right?
I'm not gonna lie, during commercial break, I hopped on Amazon Prime and already ordered, you know, the raw elements and the sticks.
One of our favorites.
All right, well, appreciate you coming in again. You can find Katie's top 10 pick on her website. We'll get all of this posted for you. Thanks so much.
Yes, happy to be here.
All right, 7:51 and still ahead this morning. Thousands of flags are